Logic, School of Management. It is simple logic.
Welcome to another episode of Business Sense. It is business and its essence. Sponsored by Logic School of Management. This is an entrepreneurial conversation during the COVID times. Today, my guest is a very prominent business person, a management person, a thinker who had actually been part of both professional circles as well as business and industrial circles. And he is none other than Mr. Hari Krishnan Nair, Managing Director, Western India Cashew Private Limited, part of the vendors group. That means vendors group goes back 2 to 3, 4 generations of traditional business, particularly in the area of cashew. And Hari is a product of IIM Calcutta, which is now called Kolkata, of course. After having some time working, then he joined his father's business, that is in cashew, and he has been there ever since. He has grown the business multi-fold. We'll discuss that during the discussions. In the while, he also had been the chairman of Cashew Export Promotion Council of India, as well as a Kerala chapter chairperson of CIAP, and he's a president designate of Thai Kerala. He will be taking over maybe in another year's time. A person who had brought value addition in cashew business in a manner that was very visible and being followed by many other people in the business. Hari, welcome to Business Sense.
Thank you, sir. It's great to be here.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah, Hari. Now we are in COVID time, so definitely no discussion is complete without a reference to COVID. Actually, somebody was telling me yesterday, Hari, that actually the whole COVID of the world. Correct me if I'm wrong, because he gave me a fact. He said the entire COVIDs of the world, if it is put on a weighing balance, it will be less than a gram. Is it right?
Possibly, yeah. I think viruses are the smallest living creatures if they are living. So probably,
yes.
Probably you're right.
Yeah. Look at us, 7.5 billion people. There is no place to go. So everybody, what do? We lock in and we see that, okay, he doesn't upset our life and business. Okay. So Hari, how is COVID affecting your business?
I mean, like everybody else, it has affected our business also.
Yeah.
And it's it's an event which is happening, which has happened to some extent. It is happening, and it is going to continue for some more time.
Yes.
And we have to, take a relook at our priorities and work accordingly. So that's the way we are handling this. For us, we are in the old economy. We supply food, and we supply, cashews and nuts, which are very low processed foods. It's not highly processed. So to some extent, it is the world is going back to basics.
Okay.
At a time like COVID. So more, even though incomes may be coming down by 50% or 70%, the spends on food will not come down by more than 5 or 10%.
All right.
Especially, in places where among people who are of middle class and upper levels.
Yes.
So to that extent, food is considered to be one of those industries which is recession proof.
Yes.
And we happen to be in that type of an industry. So as far as selling is concerned, as long as you have the right partners, long-term relationships with your customers, and as long as you're honest and your customers recognize you as honest, you have a reasonable chance of surviving in this business. And on the other hand, we also have the COVID, which has actually hit us right here in Kollam and in Kerala.
Yes.
So our factories are here, and we are not able to produce to the extent that we normally would because of the restrictions. Okay. And so we have to have a priorities right, about how we go forward to deal with this crisis.
Yes.
So for us, even before this became something which the government recognized, we had already gone into this and had taken certain precautions. For example, we started doing thermometer checks of people, at the end of February itself. We started, and we started, we already, because it's part of food safety, and some of our customers said that they are doing these things in their country, so we immediately followed suit to go through the best practices. We had hand washing. We already have hand washing before people go into work, but we put a hand wash with soap and all that right at the entrance of the factory. Before people come in, and we started making sure that truck drivers who come in do not mix with our workers, and they were given a separate region, etc. So the primary thing here is that we have to look after our employees and make sure that they do not get ill while they're working with us. So that is of primary importance. That's one of the things that we did right at the beginning. The second thing is that we need to keep working. So we made a presentation about our facilities, and we looked at our facilities. We made sure that we are able to ensure social distancing. So we had at that time kept 2 meters. Now the government has revised it to 1 meter, but we had kept it as 2 meters. We divided the workforce into small groups of 5 people each, so that in case there are some activities where you need a team of people to work. So we made those teams smaller, made it 5 people, so that in case somebody brings this disease from outside, they would not give it to more than that group of people, and they can also be easily isolated, etc. So we went into these things right at the beginning, and because of that, and we already had things like we use IPA, that is isopropyl alcohol, even otherwise in our facilities. We use other things, other higher level stuff to clean the tables and work areas, etc., and the machinery. We already have those things, but we increased the frequency, made sure that it is done on a shift basis rather than in some cases on a weekly basis. So these are things that we did. And then, as it's gone further forward, we have evolved, and we're trying to make sure that our workspace is a place where people do not get ill. So now what we've also done is we have engaged buses to get people, and giving them enough amount of spacing within the buses. Also, buses are free now because a lot of the schools, education institutions are not working. So we were able to get a few buses to work for us for this amount of time. We don't know how it is going to go as we go further forward. But we are trying to be prepared, and we are trying to make sure that we are responsible as we are dealing with this crisis today.
That's great. So it is, Hari, I'm so happy because I always, like to everyone whom I describe you, I always say you're a thinking entrepreneur, and also you apply lots of not only thoughts, you also apply a lot of science also into your business. Okay. Now, so proactively you have been able to do it much before all these all these restrictions or all these governmental regulations had come into being. And I expected this also. Now, I have 2 questions which are related to each other. One question is that, is there any query, a new query from your clients or your existing clients as well as new clients about the hygiene element of your produce? New, not, it must have been there earlier also. But having COVID come, people start saying, "Oi, is it safe?" Or, are they taking the precaution? Something like an extra query, is it coming? And another thing I want to know is, normally, I think in the new normal, Hari, if you look at it, the producers that we go to buy also probably will come under the RTA, the right to know where it is made, where it is manufactured, where it is packaged, and the like, because we would like to make double sure that the products that we buy, either from the pick up from the stores or we buy, are devoid of these microbes and these viri. So that is one element of the thing. People will be careful. The other element is this question that is coming. Are you specifically you have been getting any questions saying that, look, are you taking precautions, etc.?
Yes, we have got questions from our customers, but mostly they are related to the safety of our employees and how we are treating our. It's more of the social part of it rather than the the food safety part of it. Because as far as food safety is concerned, we already have a lot of we have most of these things in place anyway.
Yes.
And that is enough. It should, in theory, it is enough to take care of all the issues that can happen, with regard to food.
Yeah.
Particularly, see, the food that we make, it is not frozen food, it is
Yes.
not cold food, and it is
Yeah.
not food with a lot of moisture in it, in the
Yes.
sense. So these are elements which actually increase the life of microbes.
Microbes, yes.
So, for example, if it has got a lot of water activity actually helps microbes to stay alive and multiply.
Yeah.
And if you also put it in cold storage, microbes don't die; they stay alive, and when they get the right conditions, they can multiply again.
Yes.
So these are not conditions for our product. Our product is a dry product with very low water activity, and microbes don't stay alive there for long. Unless for long durations in normal terms. At the same time, we have taken those precautions. Additional issues of masks. We have masks at the final end of after the cooking process. After that, the people do wear masks. But
Yes.
now what we've done is we change the mask every 4 hours. That is, people after when they go out and come back, they don't wear the same mask. They wear a different mask. So that is after their break. So that's the additional precaution that we're taking to make sure that the food is additionally safe. As far as what you mentioned about customers wanting to know where their food comes from. See, this is something which I think which started out in the late 1990s, and it is more than 20 years now. Where people, they want to know more about their food and more about where it comes from, etc.
Yes.
At the same time, it is not that relevant as yet, except in very specialized places like where you're looking at where people pay extra for sustainable coffee, for example, or for organic food. So these are places where there is that much more extra thought about where the food is coming from. In our industry, it is not that prevalent.
Now, will
but
this
at the
be
same
in
time,
the course
yes.
of time, Hari?
Sure.
Will this be in the course of time?
Yes, it is growing. But see, there's only so much that see, when people buy cashews, they're not buying a Mercedes Benz.
I understand.
So it is not. So it is not that high involvement purchase. It is a medium involvement purchase. It's food, so there is some involvement in it, but it is not the very high involvement purchase where they want to look at so many different things. So there's a certain element of thought which goes into it, but it will probably be 3 seconds of thought or 5 seconds of thought. So
may not be that
yes,
challenging.
it is important for some people. It is very, very important for some people, but at the same time, that is not a place where we are putting that much of emphasis on right now.
All right.
For us, what we are trying to do is to make sure that there are other things which actually drives our industry. That is, nuts have become very healthy.
Yes.
They're found to be heart healthy now, which wasn't the case earlier.
Yeah, earlier.
And today, there's also have a lot of micronutrients which make them, which help them to. Which are basically immunity boosters.
Yes, immunity boosters.
So these are things which are driving the industry now. So we are looking to catch those elements rather than the fear elements of where is the food coming from, etc. So we are looking at capturing and making good of the positive elements of our industry right now.
Right. Good. See, just to say. In the blue ocean strategy, there is an element of adding a emotional product to a functional product. They say so you add that emotion. So I think your product can have that emotion also get added to it. Because of those new things related to immunity, Because today, I think world over, people are always asking which are all the producers that we must eat so that we can actually improve and boost our immunity. Right? Okay. Now, Hari. The business is going on, you have been manufacturing, but then there are challenges that you're facing, but may not be that high. At the same time, do you think this impact, the COVID impact will have a larger say in your business in times to come, your future businesses?
The first most important thing is that travel is restricted, and travel will continue to be restricted for some time.
Yes.
And when you're dealing, it's going to be a big differentiator. When we talk to customers, like for example, we are having this conversation on Zoom.
Yeah.
In normal times, we would be sitting face to face.
That is right. Yes.
So that's a difference. So even when we are making our sales pitches to customers, or when we have any conversations with regard to any problem solving, it is going to be this way. That's a positive and a negative. The negative is that it never carries the same value as a real face to face.
Okay.
And the positive is that the costs are so much lower, and the time taken is also so much lower to have meetings. So that is one thing which has changed, and it will continue to be there for some amount of time.
Yes.
The second thing is the usage itself. See, people have stopped going out so much and mixing with others.
Yes.
So even food consumption. See, our product is mostly used as a snack. So snacking at home is one thing, and snacking in groups or snacking when you're with others, when you're in outside settings, is the second part of consumption. So the second part of consumption has gone down.
Yeah.
And we don't know how fast it's going to come back. How long is it going to take before it comes back?
Yes.
For example, the usage in cinema theaters, the usage when people are driving. So all this is going to come down. Usage of nuts as
usage in parties, get-togethers, events. Yes.
Even offices, and small celebrations. So these things are, the usage is going to come down. So there is going to be a change in food habits because of this.
Yes.
So when you're sitting with when you have guests, I'm sure that all of us, when we have guests, we prepare our food to look much better than when we are eating ourselves.
That is right.
The cake, for example, will have a few extra colors in there. So that's that is going to go. So the beauty part of the food is going to go down. So we expect that maybe the larger size cashews, which for example, which sell at a huge premium, which goes for parties. The usage of that is probably going to go down a little bit compared to the regular size cashews, which taste no different from the larger ones. It's just that it's a little bit smaller. Maybe that will get used up a little bit more. I don't know, because when you're looking at the future, see, these are thoughts which come to your mind, but will I bet on it? No, not yet.
I was having a talk with Professor Abraham Cashew of IMA. He has superannuated now. He's actually settled in Cochin, so I get to see him and talk to him a little occasionally. So he was telling me the post-COVID effect will be, one is the money aspect of it. People may not be having that much of money because things would be starting from the ground zero upwards. Another thing is, discretionary discretion, applying discretion in their purchases. And the third is the splurging that they don't engage into, splurging in their procurements and things like that. Now, cashew nut, actually, among nuts, it's not a cheaper product. Among nuts, if I compare, okay, it's a product of a higher value in terms of price. So, do you expect the splurging that people may not be looking at? Okay, maybe I may not go for this, or maybe I will have it later. That sort of a thing is possible. I'm sorry, I'm asking a very negative question to you. Please don't take cognizance of that. I just want to know your thoughts on this. People may not be buying these sort of things in larger quantities or bigger quantities. Will that happen?
Professor Koshi definitely has a point.
Yes.
That cashews is definitely not the cheapest food out there on the table. See, the biggest consumer of cashews, when you look at it as markets, is India.
Yes.
And India is not a country with a high disposable personal income.
Absolutely.
So the consumption in India, will definitely, and I think a food which at retail will cost more than 1,000 rupees a kilo. It's not a cheap food, but at the same time, put it in perspective, a dish of meat will cost you more than 1,000 rupees a kilo.
You see.
Yeah, I mean, if you take a plate of mutton, it will cost you more than that. So
that's right.
So when you look at it in perspective, I think yes, it will come down in India for sure, but the extent, it's very difficult for anybody to guess.
Yes.
When you look at the other markets, we are not selling that much in India. We are selling more in developed countries.
That is
so.
Right.
When you look at those countries, it is a treat for. For normal people. It is not considered to be it's a daily food for higher middle class and upper middle class and upper class people, I guess. It is an occasional treat for the lower middle class.
Right.
There's nobody, I think in America, for example, everybody knows cashews today. It is not that poor people have not eaten cashews.
Yes.
So will it affect consumption? I don't know. We have got different thoughts from our customers. One of our customers, who's a reasonably high-end supermarket chain in the US, tells us that generally they expect all grocery spending in total to go down by more than 15%.
15%.
15% over the next 12 months. And so they've told us that we should also expect that our business may go down by about 15% with them. But there are others, for example, we have a customer in Europe who is working double shifts now because their product is actually, when initially in March, when this thing broke, there was this hoarding which took place and people bought up things from the grocery. So everything got pulled out. But after that, a month from then, what has happened now is that consumption has of products like nuts, which you can eat without too much of additional preparation. When you take it home, you can eat it without too much of hassles. So stuff like that has gone up. It is about the same as the previous year.
So
maybe marginally higher. The food, the type of food which has gone up actually in this time is frozen food.
Frozen food.
Dinners, frozen food has actually gone up by more than 20 to 30%.
Because it was predicted that some 15% dip is possible, that has not been felt as it.
Yes and no. In the sense, when I say this, the initial pull-up has been very good. But the expectation for the year, for the rest of the year, when you look at going in until December, they say that it may go down by so much because you have Christmas consumption. Christmas consumption may not be as good because of the economic access, etc. So putting all those things in perspective, they say that in general the consumption may go down by about 15%.
Noted. Point out. Now, Hari, you are famous, as well as your organization is famous for the level of innovations that you have brought into, the level of value additions that you have actually brought into, and the level of products diversification that actually you have brought into. So, would you be able to give us some input about your thoughts on that actually?
I think the first major innovation that we brought into the industry was when we changed the type of bulk packing of cashews. This was in the late 90s. So we brought in flexible pouch packing into the industry, which later became the industry standard both in India and then the world standard, etc. That was done from a point of view of innovation. We looked at it as something to innovate, something that the customer wanted, etc., etc. But we did not really try to make any money out of it. We didn't try to keep it proprietary. We went and we distributed the know-how to the industry at a very, very low cost to make sure that that becomes public. So that is the first thing that we did. After that, we have come up with marginal innovations like a 1-ton big bag. We have done. We were the first people to go for certain international certifications like Food Safety Initiative certifications, British Retail Consortium, and IFS is a German food safety certification. Quite a few of those things. We were among the early companies to go into most of this around 2005, 2006 onwards. Then what we were doing is we changed the model of working in the sense we started going further forward to customers. We bypassed some of the traditional channel and leapfrog forward. And this was in touch with the times. That was a time when disintermediation was the buzzword for business. That travel, communications were growing, and it was possible to cut out middlemen, and then this was the talk for all industries, and we also followed that. We went further forward as much as possible. And following that, what we did is we started finding customers who specifically wanted what we did, or specifically had high value for the additional things that we were doing, and then we got to those customers and tried to do additional things for them. That is how we got into the value additions that are driving us today. So today what we do is, we do a lot of the work that we do is what is being done by our erstwhile customers, who are roasting and cashews and putting them in consumer packs. So that is the type of thing that we do. Plus, what we do is we try to understand those customers there. We try to make new, understand what are the new flavors going on in those markets. Try to create those flavors, additional flavors. We come up with with certain new twists on the products that we make, and we take it to the same customers. So, see, when you talk about diversification, it is generally talk of new customer plus new product. That is not what we have done.
Okay.
We have gone for either new, the same product that we have and we find new customers, or the same customers that we have and we find new ways of satisfying them. Because see, we are very far away from our market, and we definitely cannot compete with somebody who's down there, at the market on the ground and selling directly, and it's just a phone call away. So we had to be smarter in these things, and that's the way we have gone about it.
We've read about your product by brand Karma Nuts. Actually, Karma Nuts becoming a part of the gift hamper that was given away during the Grammys, at 2020. Which is, I think, it is a major international recognition, and it also has a lot of celebrity aspects, a lot of oomph attached with this news. Actually, will you be able to give us some input on this? It's a great achievement. We are proud of you for having achieved this. Will you tell us something on this, please?
When you look at Indian products sold overseas to consumer, there's very few brands which have actually been created. So even for us, a good 95% of our product, or more than that, is actually sold in the retailers' brands or brands which already exist in these countries, and we are just an add-on product to those brands. Because the cost of creating a brand is extremely high. It is not something which even large companies from India have not been able to do that. Some of them have gone and bought overseas brands. So, for example, the Tatas have brought Tetley and all that, in the food space. This movement among the millennials and Gen Z, or whatever they call it, the new generation, where people do not believe in the old big brands anymore.
Okay,
and,
I understand.
They believe that it is big business, and big business is evil.
They don't have much affinity towards that, actually.
So because of that, there's been the creation of a lot of new brands in personal care and food over the last 10 to 15 years. And these brands all have a certain authenticity to them.
Okay.
Right, I mean, all of them have some authenticity by, it's either saying that they believe in something, or they have a real background getting into this, etc. So when we looked at, we means, my brother and I, my brother Ganesh is in the US, and actually, the marketing head is more him than me, and he's the person who's driven this there. So when we looked at ourselves, one of the things that we have is that as far as authenticity is concerned, we go back 3 generations since the 1950s in the same product. And we have a positive history in the industry, in the sense, we've always been, good players in the industry, and never having cheated people, never having got into hassles with customers.
Positive values have been very high.
So that is a positivity which we took, and then we also had to bring in some differentiation in the product. So the basic product which is sold in America, cashews are used mainly as a snack, and they're fried or roasted in oil, as you say, because it doesn't absorb that much of oil, but it's fried. And with salt. So that is the major use of cashews, and there are a few other takes on it. So we looked at this, and then we came up with whatever was there in our armory of products, and one of that was cashews with the skin, where we had actually made it edible with the skin. So that is one product that we had. Plus we thought that we were making a good dry roasted cashew here in India. Which is a slower process. It's longer. It is more difficult to manage evenness than in the frying process. But we could do it because of our availability of labor and the processes that we have. So we took these 2 things together, and then used all of this these 3 things to start building a brand. So my brother is the face of the brand. So he is the person who built the brand in America. He is gone around selling cashews to small stores, putting it in, carrying cartons in his
Car and
car.
vehicles.
Yeah, and so see, he's an MBA. He studied in UCLA, did his MBA from UCLA, and then Harvard and
Yeah.
MIT. And we had this promotion of our product once at Costco,
Yeah.
the local Costco, and
Yes.
and he was doing the promotion himself. He was standing there and
Himself, all
selling
by
this.
himself. Okay.
And somebody who used to work with him in Johnson and Johnson came and asked him, "No, so you've reached here." So,
You've grown a lot.
yeah. So there are a lot of sacrifices which you make when you go forward and try to do something new. So we have gone through all those sacrifices and those difficult times also to grow this brand. So Ganesh has managed to find other ways of appeal, and the appeal of our product is that our product is natural. It is more natural than than other product because it goes to the skin. And we have done other research on the nutritional value of our products. We found whatever differences are there, and we managed to highlight those things.
Yes.
And put it together as a package. And this appeals to people who think healthy.
Yes.
So it's a different taste also that we have. So we've been able to put those things together, and we have been endorsed by a lot of celebrities. Even before the celebrity chefs have endorsed us, we got quite a few awards. We got an award for the best new snack at the Anaheim show, which is the biggest natural food show in 2018.
Yeah.
And we've also won a lot of accolades from different chefs associations,
right. Yes.
And all that for the product. So when we got this opportunity, we took that opportunity to be a part of the Grammys, and we're very happy, because the Grammys represent.
It's the highest in the musical awards ceremony across the world. The planet's most important award in musicals, So I think.
And the people who go there, what they eat, if it is, if they like it, we get endorsements from them also, right? So
I was seeing an interview of Ganesh, in which he had actually put a caption telling that, do good, eat good, feel good. That's what he said about the Karma nut brand, So are you part of that thought that is actually emanated, or it is his own thought that do good, eat good, feel good?
Karma as a brand, yes, when we developed it, we had different ways of looking at it.
Yeah.
And see, this is a thought where my family have been devotees of Sai Baba. So.
Yeah.
So he had this thing of saying that you do good and be good.
Okay.
So when this thought came, we said that how to put something with regard to food also into it. So the thought came that karma nuts is something where you reward yourself after doing something good. When you feel good, you do something good, and then you reward yourself by having a karma nuts, karma products, and then you feel good. And this is something that we also try to put in practice in our business also. We make sure that we do good. We do not do bad. So that is important for us. We try to make sure that we do good, and there are the positive things that we try to do.
Right. So it is simply what you're saying, that it is simply not a slogan. It is a thought, and it is a belief. And tradition that you have had behind this. Everything has been put into, and things got into its place to the extent of being achieved as a product that has been given as a part of the gift hamper during the Grammys. Okay, probably next could be the Oscars. Yeah, we may have to see. Now, Hari, we have been talking for more than about 35 minutes now. Time flies. Just look at this. So as the last question today, I would like to ask you, because you have been seeing a lot of startups and youngsters as well as early businesses, etc., coming up in Kerala. In fact, as far as startup is concerned, Kerala is considered to be the third largest startup ecosystem in India after Bangalore and Delhi, the NCR region. So what's your advice to startup businessmen? What's your advice to these early entrepreneurs, if you have one to make? Yes.
I think the most important thing when you're starting up, whether you're a startup or whether in the new sectors or in the old sectors,
Okay.
I think what is important is that you find a wave and ride the wave.
Okay.
Don't try to go against, understand the consumer, understand the market, understand what is going forward, and you go forward along with the wave. It is so much easier to do that than trying to change the world when you're starting off.
That's right.
So that is one thing. And the second thing is that understand the size of the market,
Okay.
and you should always realize what is the size of the market, and especially when you're in new sectors, you have to keep relooking at your business and try and
Yes.
see, how big is the market and where are you? Are you growing faster than the market, or are you growing with the market, or are you growing slower than the market? It is very important for you to be, to know where you stand, and try to make sure that at least you're growing on par with the market. However you define the market, you may define it as hyper local, or you may define it as international. But whichever way you look at it, make sure that you keep track of where you're going with regard to the way the market is going. I think that is very, very important.
Right, Hari. Thank you very much very thoughtful, at the same time very easy flowing, very freewheeling conversation that I've had with you. I hope we'll be able to get out of this COVID times, and so that we could meet physically at many other podiums and communicate and have a fellowship. As we are in COVID times, we'll sign off with new normal. Namaste.
Thank you, sir. It's wonderful speaking with you as always, and all the best to you and also to watching. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay.